There's something haunting about a love letter that never reaches its destination. Something tragic in words written with a trembling hand, pouring out a heart that's desperate to be understood, only for those words to vanish into silence, unread, unheard. That lost love letter became a symbol of everything I wished I could say, but never did, a fragile thread of connection that slipped through my fingers. I wrote it one quiet night, my pen moving faster than my racing thoughts. Every word was a confession, every sentence a fragile hope that maybe, just maybe, this letter would bridge the distance between us, the distance carved by time, misunderstanding, and fear. But life, as it often does, had other plans. The letter got lost, swallowed by the chaos of everyday life, never reaching the person it was meant for. And with it, so did a chance to heal, to confess, to find closure or perhaps a new beginning. That letter haunted me for years. A reminder of what was left unsaid, of love frozen in time, trapped between ink and paper. It became a ghost of what could have been, a story suspended in silence. I tucked the letter into the pages of an old book, the one we used to read together, the one that smelled like memories and quiet afternoons. I remember how the paper felt beneath my fingers, soft and fragile, almost like it could tear with the slightest breath. Writing those words was like exposing a part of myself I had kept hidden, revealing hopes and fears I wasn't sure I was ready to face. I wanted him to know how deeply I cared, how much I missed the warmth of his smile, the sound of his voice that once felt like home. I poured my heart onto that page, telling him things I could never say out loud, the apologies, the regrets, the dreams I still held onto even though I thought they were lost forever. The night I wrote the letter, the air was thick with silence and longing. I sealed the envelope carefully, imagining him reading those words, feeling the same ache that had taken residence inside me. But the letter never left my hands. Somehow, in the chaos of life, the distractions, the fear, it slipped away. Lost in the shuffle, forgotten like a whispered secret. For years after, I carried that loss with me like a wound that never healed. I wondered what would have happened if he had read the letter. Would things have been different? Would we have found our way back to each other, or was it always too late? Sometimes I imagined him holding the letter, running his fingers over my words, feeling the pulse of my heart in the ink. Other times, I pictured it lost forever, buried beneath a pile of forgotten things, a symbol of a love that slipped through my fingers. The lost letter became a metaphor for all the chances I never took, the words left unsaid, the feelings I kept locked away, the moments when fear silenced me. It was a reminder of how fragile love can be, how easily it can be lost between intention and action. I kept writing letters after that, letters I sent, letters I never sent, trying to make sense of the love that had slipped away. Each one was a piece of my soul, a confession of longing and hope, of pain and healing. Through it all, I learned that sometimes love doesn't come wrapped in grand gestures or perfect timing. Sometimes it's a quiet ache, a memory that lingers in the spaces between moments. And even though that letter was lost, even though the words never reached him, the feelings behind it never faded. They live on in me, in every breath I take, in every quiet moment of reflection. That lost love letter is a part of my story, a testament to the power of love, even when it's unspoken, unseen, and unfinished. I often wondered what it would have been like if that letter had reached him. Would he have held it close like I imagined? Would he have felt the weight of every word, the tremor of my heart bleeding through the ink? Or would it have been just another piece of paper, easily discarded, a forgotten relic of a past neither of us could rewrite? The possibilities haunted me. In those moments of quiet, I replayed scenes over and over in my mind. The day I wrote the letter, the unspoken promises between us, the laughter we shared, and the silences that grew longer with time. I imagined a conversation sparked by that letter, a chance to lay bare our fears and hopes, to bridge the chasm that had opened between us. But none of it happened. The silence remained. The letter remained lost. That silence became its own kind of betrayal, one that whispered doubt into my soul and made me question whether love was ever meant to be. How could something so real, so deep, be reduced to words that never found their way? How could a connection so strong unravel simply because of a letter that got lost? In the absence of answers, I found myself clinging to the fragments of what was left, memories, feelings, the echo of a love that was never fully realized. I held on to hope, fragile and flickering, that somewhere, somehow, our paths might cross again. And yet, the letters lost taught me something profound. Love is not always about possession or closure. Sometimes, it's about holding on to the intangible, the feelings that endure beyond time and distance, beyond words and letters. I began to write not for him, but for myself. Each letter was a release, a way to confront the grief of what was lost and the yearning for what might have been. In those letters, I found healing, a way to weave the broken pieces of my heart back together. I discovered that sometimes the greatest acts of love are not the ones shared with another, but those we give ourselves, the courage to face the pain, the strength to forgive, and the grace to let go. The lost love letter became a symbol of all those silent confessions and unrealized dreams. It was a reminder that love is messy and imperfect, filled with moments of joy and sorrow, hope and loss. And through it all, I learned to embrace the uncertainty, to accept that some stories are left unfinished, some questions unanswered, and some loves remain forever in the realm of what if. That letter, lost to time, lives on in my heart, not as a wound, but as a testament to the enduring power of love, the love we carry with us, even when it's never returned. And as I close this chapter of my story, I hold onto the belief that love, in all its forms, is a gift worth treasuring, even when it slips through our fingers. The years passed, and the lost letter became less of a painful regret and more of a quiet companion. It lived in the back of my mind, like a song that plays softly beneath the noise of everyday life. Sometimes, when I was alone with my thoughts, I would pull it out, not the physical letter, which was lost to time, but the memory of it, the feelings it carried. I learned to live with the uncertainty, to find peace in not knowing what might have been. The lost letter taught me to cherish the present, to hold tightly to the moments and people who are here now, instead of dwelling on what slipped away. In time, I found love again, love that was imperfect, but real. Love that was spoken aloud, not left in silence. Love that wasn't lost in transit, but arrived fully, embraced with open arms. And still, that lost love letter remained a part of me, a symbol of hope and vulnerability, of the courage it takes to open your heart, even when you don't know if it will be received. Sometimes, love is about what we give, not what we get in return. Sometimes, it's about the words we say, or write, even if they are never heard. I carry that lesson with me every day. The lost love letter was never just about a missed chance or a broken connection. It was about the power of expression, the healing in honesty, and the enduring strength of hope. It reminds me that love is a journey, not a destination. That even in loss, there is growth. And that sometimes, the stories we never finish teach us the most about who we are. So I keep writing letters to the past, to the future, to myself, knowing that the act of love is in the trying, in the daring, in the hope that our words might one day find their way home. There were moments, even years later, when the weight of that lost letter pressed against my chest with a sudden intensity. It would catch me off guard, perhaps a song on the radio, a scent carried on the breeze, or the quiet stillness of a late night, and the flood of emotions would return. The ache of unspoken words, the longing for a connection that never fully formed, the bittersweet taste of love suspended in time. I sometimes wondered if he ever thought about that letter. If, in some corner of his mind, he felt the absence of those words the way I did. Did he ever imagine what I had poured into that page? Or had it vanished from his life as completely as it had from mine? I never found out. The silence remained, a haunting echo that refused to be silenced. But over time, I realized that the letter's true purpose wasn't to be delivered or received. It was a vessel for my own healing, a declaration of feelings that deserved to be acknowledged, even if only by me. It was the courage to confront vulnerability and the grace to accept uncertainty. That letter, lost to the world but never to my heart, became a symbol of resilience. A reminder that love's power isn't always in its fulfillment, but in the willingness to open oneself to it, to risk heartbreak, and to hold on to hope. I learned that sometimes the most profound connections don't require reciprocation. Sometimes, loving without holding on is the greatest act of strength. And with that understanding, I found peace. The lost love letter lives on within me, a quiet testament to the enduring human spirit, the part of us that dares to dream, to love, and to hope, even when the future is uncertain. It taught me that love is not just about endings, but about the journeys we take, the lessons we learn, and the hearts we open along the way. And so, I carry that letter with me not as a burden, but as a blessing. A chapter in my story that reminds me of the beauty in vulnerability and the courage in letting go. Because in the end, love is love, no matter where it lands.